Welcome to Color of Fragrance, and I'm your host, Vonnie EC. And the topic of the day is how I went from being a niche fragrance snob to having a dupe collection. Yeah. When I first got into niche fragrances, I dug deep into the rabbit hole. Once I went niche and felt like I graduated from designer fragrances, I went down the rabbit hole in niche fragrances. And around that time, I say I got into niche fragrances around 2018. And once I went down that rabbit hole, it was all niche. From there, it wasn't no looking back. I lost my interest in even trying out a lot of designer fragrances, even though I still have, and I do have, small amount of designer fragrances. As a matter of fact, one of my most favorite designer fragrances is in my top 5. I'll probably do a video on that next time around, but once I got in the niche, it was just all niche. I wasn't thinking about designer no more. And I definitely didn't want to have nothing to do with nothing fake, no clones, no dupe, none of that. I was not paying attention to none of that. I was really prejudiced towards dupes. I see content creators, even some of the content creators that I would check out from time to time, they'll be covering dupes. I scroll right past it. I don't even look. I never even looked at it. Never. You know what I'm saying? So, but the first dupe that I actually bought was Club de Nuit. Club de Nuit, man, intense. And the reason I bought that because I was watching a fragrance influencer that, I was watching a lot at the time. It was a Bowtie Fragrance Guy, and he was doing a sniffing test with his wife. And I think they was testing out like 10 fragrances, man, and the reaction that she gave to the Club de Nuit, it made me like, well, what is that? Because she really loved that fragrance. And I remember that video. They had a lot of, he had some expensive, some top-notch fragrances in that lineup, but Club de Nuit was the one who ranked the highest. So I'm like, you know what, man? Was she was very passionate about that fragrance, so it struck my curiosity. And plus it was only like 30, 40 bucks. So I just blind bought it. I just wanted to see, what it was. And it smelled like Creative Venice to me. At the time, I used to hear a lot of people talk about how when you first spray it, the lemon note, something about the lemon and the citrus note in it was like too strong and harsh. At first, I didn't get that, but now I see what people was talking about. But as far as that dupe, the reactions that Bowtie Fragrance Guy's wife gave, I got a reaction similar to that the first time I wore it outside. I wore it outside and I got a compliment, The first time I wore it, got a compliment from a woman, and I just remember her being like, please excuse me, I don't think I'm crazy, but whatever you have on, it smells so good. That scent trail is so beautiful. And I'm like, wow, off this $30 fragrance, so, but even yet and still, I didn't become a dupe guy after that. I still, even to this day, I still pride myself on, if I like something, getting the original, because I don't want to say snob, but I like the art. I'm in deep enough into this hobby, into this lifestyle, to where I actually appreciate the art. And if it's a fragrance that I really love and appreciate and it knocked my socks off, I want the OG. Same thing, just like with the last video I made with the imagination. Like I tried to stay away from the original bottle. I tried. But even from the dupes that I smell and the dupe that I have for imagination, it don't compare. Even when you look at other fragrance reviewers review dupes for imagination. They'll tell you it smell like this, but it don't have this, or it's similar. It breaks down the same, but in the beginning it's not like this. It's like no, I want what the OG do. I want the OG because everything else is missing something, no matter how close you get to it. So that's just me. But somewhere along the lines, I ended up doing something that I thought I would never do, which is developing a small little collection of some dupes that I have here. And to be specific, some dupes from Dua. And this used to be the main dupe house I see people reviewing. I'll go right past it. But here we are. Here we are. So this is about what? This is 20 bottles. And how I got on the Dua, you know, my partner, I got a partner that's real heavy into fragrances like me. And matter of fact, this same person is the person who inspired me to step my game up, you know, who kind of led me into getting into niche fragrances. So I think he's more of a snob than me. But I remember one time he was telling me about Dua. He was telling me about Dua. And basically his thing for using Dua was, you know, well, the thing about Dua, from what I understand and heard, like, when you get these fragrances and you let them sit, they're macerated, and the fragrances supposedly get stronger. You know, that's like the selling point or the strong point about Dua. Another thing I learned about Dua, Dua has a very occult following, you know. So anyway, bro was telling me, you know, like fragrances that he used to have, or, you know, he had, at one point in time, he had a lot of niche fragrances that got stolen, unfortunately. So, you know, as he was building back up his fragrance collection, some of the fragrances that he ended up, you know, not having in his possession no more, whether he used them up or whether they got stolen when his fragrances got stolen, he replaced some of them with Dua brand fragrances. And he was just telling me how good these Duas was, you know, how close they was to the original, how much they last, how strong they was, and how they macerated through time. And up until that point, like I say, man, I was pretty prejudiced against dupes. So from his recommendation, I'm like, all right, man, let me see. Let me see what they talking about. And then, you know, anywhere from $30, $50, $60 a bottle. You know, a lot of the designer dupes on the Dua brand site, you get them for $30, $40 or something like that. So, you know, when you're used to paying a couple $100s for a bottle on average, you know, $30, $50 ain't a lot of money for a fragrance. So, at least to me. So I started, you know, I kind of dug into it. So the first thing I did, I'm trying to see one of the first fragrances I bought, because I started buying fragrances that I already had. So I bought, I think one of the first, well, okay, I had smelt the samples of Afternoon Swim. And I just wanted to see what the dupe would do, lined up with the samples. I never had the bottle of Afternoon Swim from Louis V, but I just wanted to see what the dupe lined up to be. And the name of the dupe is called Gone Swimming. I don't know if you can see that, but smell pretty good. Yeah, you know, I've definitely used this. You know, I definitely put a little dent in it, but yeah, it was pretty good. Then I started ordering fragrances that I already had. So let me see. What's a fragrance that I already got? I ordered a fragrance of the Chanel Allure Edition Blanche. That's the Chanel fragrance that people say smell like lemon meringue pie. Very beautiful fragrance. And I think this is it right here. His Aspiration Edition Bianca. So I just wanted to see how this performance lined up against that performance and how close it smelled to the original. And, you know, it smelled pretty good. And you can tell, you know, the juice was not this dark when I first got it. I mean, I've been sitting on these Duas for a couple years now, I guess you can say. But this juice is definitely macerated. It's been a while since I wore it. I'm gonna have to wear it again to test it out. But Yeah, I just wanted to see how some of these dupes lined up to fragrances that I already had. I wanted to see if they would last longer. So that's kind of how I started buying dupes. Let me see. I got another dupe. I used to have Santal Complete by Fragrance Du Bois. This right here is called Completely Santal. I don't have Santal Complete no more. I gave it away. It's kind of too feminine for me, and it didn't perform the way that I wanted it to, you know. But this is very close. As a matter of fact, it's probably more deeper, more richer than the original, to be honest. So like I say, man, a few fragrances. Let me see what else. I got another one. What's another fragrance that I have that I bought a clone of? Okay, I used to have Baccarat 540. I was a fool and sold it. You know what I'm saying? But after a while, I knew I was gonna get Baccarat 540 again. I just didn't feel like paying for it again. So I just got the dupe. And this dupe lined up. Casino Royale, Knights of Tar. This lined up pretty good. Like I said, I can't remember how much I paid for it, but like anywhere between $30, $50. You know, some of the niche dupes, they can run you 80 bucks. But on average, you know, $40, $50, man. But yeah, this Baccarat approved. Smell like Baccarat. And Dua also got some great original fragrances that they make on their own. So let me see. This one right here. It's called the Mobster. This is a good one. You know, and a lot of people that's in the Dua cult, they know about this one, but I don't know how to describe it, man. It's definitely a gentleman's fragrance. It's definitely a masculine fragrance. Like it got like somewhere between a root beer or a cola type of vibe to it coming off of it. It's hard for me to detect what else is in this because this is so well blended, but this is a dope fragrance. This is very dope. And look at that juice. It wasn't that dark when I got it. So, and it's called the Mobster. This is definitely something I can see a 1920s gangster rocking in the Cotton Club. You know what I'm saying? I could definitely smell this. So this is a good one, and I've definitely been complimented on this one for sure. I ain't gonna go through all of them. Let me see. I'm gonna grab two more I want to touch on real quick. So another one a dupe that I have the original of is Oud Vert Intense by Fragrance Du Bois. This right here is Oud Intense Vert. You know what I'm saying? One thing that's funny about Dua is how they'll rearrange names. The names will be different, but they'll be spinoffs of the original. But yeah, you know, I love Oud Vert Intense, right? But I never bought a full bottle, you know, because Fragrance Du Bois is kind of expensive. But I was testing the Oud Vert Intense, right? I liked it so much that they had the option where you can buy a 15 mil. So I bought a 15 mil. And I was just testing it to see what the lasting power was and this, that, and the third. I don't know. I didn't feel like it lasted long. I think I felt like it lasted barely towards 5 hours. So it's just like, I don't know. In my head, I at least wanted to last between 5 and 6, especially if I'm going to be paying over $400 for a 50 mil. And for their 100 mil, they want, for this particular fragrance, they wanted over $700. So I just got the 15 mil that they was offering at the time. That was the cheapest option. And I still got most of it. You know, I didn't spray it too much. So I ended up getting this dupe. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think this dupe of Oud Vert Intense by Fragrance Du Bois is a little bit better than the original, to be honest. I think this kick a little harder. You know, to give you an idea of the smell of Oud Vert Intense, it smells like fresh cut grass on a mid 70-degree day with linens and your fabrics just washed and being hung out, drying on the line outside. Nice little breeze, nothing chilly, but just it's breezing. It's a breeze blowing through that's blowing the blades of the grass and blowing the linens as they drying on the line. The sky is blue, you know what I'm saying, and the clouds is fluffy white. So just picture that scene and picture what you smell and what I just described. That's what Oud Vert Intense smell like. It's a very green fragrance, very clean, fresh, green fragrance. But the green in this, I think this just kicks a little bit more. It's a little bit more brighter, and I think it's the performance is a little bit better. The duo. So, these dupes can be tricky. Another one. This is one of my favorites out of all my duos. This Desire 2. This is a dupe of a fragrance by Xerjoff called Cruz del Sur 2. I think that's the name of it. But Cruz del Sur is a mango fragrance. And, I've sampled it a few times because I like mango. And for some reason, like that compared to this, I think this is better. The mango, to me, it performs, and then mango comes out the way that I would want it to come out. In Cruz del Sur, to me, the mango is refined. It's very refined. It's a beautiful fragrance, but the mango just don't pop for me. Because when I read about Cruz del Sur, and it said it was a mango fragrance, I was excited. But once I got it, it was kind of underwhelming for me. Like, where the mango at? Like, I could tell the traces, but it's not there. And this one, you can smell the mango, and this lasts. And look at that juice. Look how dark that juice is. A lot of these, most of these duos, they don't come in these colors. This is the maceration. And I love this. This is one of my favorites. So, and even yet and still, I'm not a dupe guy. I still prefer the OG, and I don't really chase dupes like that. But I do have these duos. They do come in handy. Once I got into duo, like I never thought I would, it was fun. It was fun, collecting these little bottles. But even after a while, I had to stop. Like, okay, it's time to stop. It's time to stop. Because you can get wrapped up in it. But my advice, my overall advice is buy what you can afford. It don't matter, whether it's a dupe, the original, buy what you can afford, and be honest with yourself, because everybody don't care about the art of fragrance. Some people just want to smell good and just keep it simple. Just smell good and keep it simple. And to smell good, the price of smelling good really don't matter. Now, unless you get deep off into this and you really start to appreciate the art and the creators and the perfumers, and then that's a different story. And you want the OG, just like how I went and got the imagination, man. Like, I'm sorry, the dupes that I smell, they smell good, but they don't all do what imagination does. And that's why fragrances like that, Creed, Baccarat 540, or just other great fragrances, that's why they get duped, because they're great. And none of these, a lot of times, maybe in some cases, the dupes can be better. But in some cases, the dupes, they don't all the time do what the OG do. So it's on you, It's all about what you want to do. But yeah, how I went from being a fragrance snob to having a dupe collection. And, it is what it is. But moving forward, I'm not looking forward to really buying dupes. You know what I'm saying? Messing with these duos right here, this was just a phase. That was just a little phase. But moving forward, I've grown to be more picky about bottles and, really being selective about the type of fragrances that I purchase. So That's where I'm at with it. Hopefully you pick something up from this video. Till the next time, Vonnie EC, Color of Fragrance. Gone.